Thank you. Is that working? Yes. There's like some rudimentary tape holding it on. That's interesting. All right. So welcome to this session where we will talk about discover, maybe rediscover QField and QFieldCloud for those who don't know yet what QFieldCloud is, we'll introduce QField and QFieldCloud and look back at the last 24 months of development, as well as looking at what's coming next. So just out of curiosity, how many of you have used QField in the past? Raise hand. So we got a nice like 50-50 mix. Super. Okay, so I am Mathieu. I've come from OpenGIS. I have been the lead developer of QField for the last 4 or 5 years. A little bit of a background on me. I came in Southeast Asia 20-some years ago, never left, did a bit of non-profit, and started developing QGIS. I've been a core QGIS developer for over a decade, and 5 years ago I discovered QField, fell in love with the potential there, and essentially very fast became its lead developer, and I've been developing it until then. I don't know if Ivan, if you want to.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Ivan. I'm based in Bulgaria. Joined OpenGIS 5 years ago or so. Did some QGIS contributions in the beginning, then some QField, and I had to do a small project to do a synchronization between QField and QGIS, which is nowadays called QFieldCloud. So I'm the lead developer of QFieldCloud, and the driving force behind it. Thank you.
All right. So for those who don't know what QField is yet, QField is your best field companion. Whether you're working in forest, in cities, within heritage sites, disaster zone, QField will help you collect and manage the data that really counts. It's fast, it's reliable, and above all, it's open source. Essentially, so QField is built on top of QGIS. We use the QGIS core libraries to build QField. So one of the things that's super nice is that what you see in QGIS is what you will see in QField. All of the know-how, all of your personal or institutional knowledge about QGIS is directly transferable in QField. QField has high precision location, tracking, geofencing. We benefit from the full QGIS symbology, just like your desktop. So if it renders nicely on your screen, it will render nicely on your tablet or your phone. You can create rich survey form with constraints, visibility, conditional visibility, default value validation, etc. There again, like we merely benefit from relying on QGIS. The magic is happening in QGIS, not in QField on that front. You can take photos, videos, audio clips. If you're in the forest, you can record 5 minutes of the most surreal sounds that you hear around you. Supports QR code scanning, NFC tag scanning, etc. So there, the idea is that like we want to try and capture as much as possible of what surrounds us, and that's one of the key missions of QField. It's not yet over. QField does so much more. It has a powerful geometry editing capability, a node editor, a geometry reshaper. You can do freehand digitizing, and a lot more. You can sync your project data in real time with QFieldCloud. I'm not going to speak too much about QFieldCloud. I'll let its creator, Ivan, praise its glory, but it has really upped QField's game when it comes to collaboration, and we will look at that in a minute. And then finally, being built on top of QGIS also means that we are built on top of super cool libraries like GDAL, Proj, etc. So QField can support GeoPackage, QML, GPX, GeoReference, PDF, etc., etc. Again, like there the formula is if it opens in QGIS, it will open in QField. So to look a little bit at the last 24 months of development, I'll go in reverse chronological order from the last public version released in August 2025. Big headlines: that version of QField brought image stamping and a brand new plugin repository to install the growing number of plugins that are available for QField. For the plugin, we have a whole slide on it, so I won't spend too much time now, but we'll come back in it in a minute. So other highlights of that release include a fine-grained layer permission system and vector tile identification, where if you have a vector tile layer, you can click on it, and then it's going, if that vector tile has relevant attributes, like the vector tiles that OpenStreetMap have released a while ago, you will get those details. Fine-grained layer permission allows you to, it's especially powerful with QFieldCloud, where you can say, on the basis of a cloud username, that person has the right to add a feature on a layer or not. That person has the right to edit a geometry or not, can edit the geometry or not, delete. So it really allows you to fine-grain what each of your users, if you collaborate with like a group of 10, 20, what they can do and what they are prevented from doing within each layer of your project. So it's a really nice set of capabilities. For image stamping, in case stamping is a bit obscure, it just means that we print text and image on all of the photos that you take. So for example, I come from a conservation background. Conservation group love to have their branding on camera traps and all of the other images that they produce. So you can set up your project so that any photo that you take with QField will have your organization logo, corporate logo, or any other relevant information that you can have. And those photos will then readily be available already for you to maybe like share onwards on your favorite messenger app or whatnot. Going back in time a little bit more, June 2025 was a release where we spent a lot of time pouring some love into the feature form. This came alongside the release of the XLS form converter, which is a QGIS plugin that we released mid this year that allows you to take XLS form files and transform that into full-fledged QGIS project. If you know what XLS forms are, I think that will please you a lot. If you don't, you can Google the term, but it's a nice way to create surveys using a spreadsheet program. Also, we added preview rendering for the map canvas. So QField used to, because it's using QGIS as its rendering engine, it uses the same logic, which is contrary to other mapping engine where they would deal with the data as vectors, we render the data on a surface, which meant that as soon as you would start moving the canvas around, you would see emptiness around it because we're not rendering it. We're only rendering what's on the screen. That was until version 3.6 when we started rendering the immediate surroundings of the map canvas, which means that when you zoom in or out or when you drag, you now have context that will guide you around. That's a super nice feature. There again, like QGIS has had that for a couple of years. We thought it was great, so we ported it into QField. Other highlights in that release includes map layer nodes. So in QGIS, you can attach nodes to layers. This will also be available in QField now. You can add instruction to your field worker. You can add guides, images. It's really up to you what you do in those nodes, as well as feature identification on WMS and ARC map server layers. So if you work in an online environment, you can now have your user able to identify against the WMS layer, which is super helpful. Going back in time some more.
We have 10 minutes more.
We have 10 minutes more. Going back some more. This is becoming a flash talk. So March 2025, we unlocked background positioning tracking. So QField is able to track your position. We can track against point, line, or polygon. This can be tracking in the sense of track wherever I go during my field mission, or you can be like, I want to trace a lake, and I'll just walk around the lake, and as I walk, I track my position. So that's all available. One of the most requested feature, probably the most requested feature of QField, was for that tracking to happen in the background while the phone is locked or I'm looking at a YouTube video. That is now possible. You can now track and look at YouTube at the same time. In that version, we also added grid decorators. So in QGIS, you can add decorators like image title, grid. That's all supported in QField, as well as import of project from WebDAV. October 2024, processing toolbox and geofencing. QField gives you access to the QGIS processing toolbox set of algorithms. Any algorithm that can run in place will be available in QField. So you can do auto rectification. You can make your angles straight when you digitize houses. You can do on-the-fly simplification of geometry, smoothing of geometry, all of that while you're in the field inside QField. Geofencing, I think everybody knows the basic concept of geofencing. QField allows you to be aware whether you're trespassing in a military base and you have to run away quickly. June 2024, plugin, we'll talk about that if we have time in a minute. Image sketching, we can do some sketch with our finger over images, another widely requested feature that dropped in last year. April 2024, project-defined tracking session. So we discussed about tracking already. What this means is that as a manager, you can set up a track in the project that will automatically launch when QField open that project. So you don't have to spend half an hour explaining what tracking is or how to enable it in QField. That will happen automatically. So all of that is made so that managers have as many hairs as possible come the end of the year. QField plugins, I'm not going to go into too great a detail, but we have that in QField now. So the philosophy of QField is to empower people with as much freedom as possible. With the growing plugin framework, you can extend QField to do whatever you want in your own niche workflows. So you can add buttons to the interface, you can add interactions, you can have a emergency call number that's always accessible via a button. Like the plugin framework is really, really versatile. We have a repository with roughly half a dozen plugins, including like online routing, weather reports, etc. And of course, 2025, oblige, we have a Ask Your Favorite LLM plugin. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it's there. We also have a growing documentation, docs.qfield.org, that will do a much better job at explaining the feature. Here I was hopefully just being slightly successful at teasing QField and getting you to try it if you haven't tried it before. I will now pass on the mic to Ivan.
Thank you, Matthew. How many people have used QFieldCloud here? Okay, a few, so probably I need to explain what it is. So QFieldCloud allows you to store your project and its data and the settings in a centralized place. You can use QFieldCloud by its own without QField if you want to synchronize between different QGIS instances, but its power really shines when you use it with QField, because it allows you to upload your files from desktop to QFieldCloud, then you download it on QField, and you can give fine-grained permissions to different users. So some people can only create new features, some can edit, some can have elevated permissions and so on. So collaboration is there. There are the concepts of users that are grouped in teams, and teams are part of organizations. If you're familiar with GitHub, you more probably recall the same structure. QFieldCloud also offers data versioning, so you can track how these changes were coming to QFieldCloud. And important for people that already have a system in place, it allows API integration. So it also has QFieldCloud SDK, which is a Python implementation where you can interact with QFieldCloud. There's also CLI clients, or you can directly create your SDK from scratch. We have already that example in Java and in R. Good. So what is new about QFieldCloud? We added some new nice new things about our subscriptions. So we can get 3 times more storage for the same cost. And we also expose support for virtual layers in all plans. If you see here already talking about expenses, there's also a free plan where you can use up to 100 megabytes and you can test QFieldCloud and see if it works, or you can use a trial organization and see if it fits your needs for a month. Good. So we also introduced a few new products around QFieldCloud. The QFieldCloud that you're going to find probably in your favorite search engine is App QFieldCloud, which is the hosted solution by OpenGIS. We are hosting in Switzerland, which hopefully gives you some, some credibility about data security. But we also offer, if you want dedicated instances, a server just for you, or on-premise installation on your own infrastructure. So if you are interested, yeah, you can drop us an email. Something, probably the biggest development that happened in the QFieldCloud history is a new file management system. So now we support multiple backends. Before we were supporting only object storage. Now we support pretty much anything. You can store your data if you want on WhatsApp or any other provider that can be coded there, which helped a lot with speed. So now it doesn't really matter if your project has 1 file or, I don't know, 10,000 files. It's going to work pretty much the same speed. Restricted project files, sometimes project administrators are not super confident that people can change the QGS project file. So there's an additional permission that is next to it. Resumable large file downloads. So if you're in a shaky 4G network somewhere in the middle of the forest, things are better. And you can upload up to 20 gigabytes reliably. You can do even more a little bit, but yeah, now it depends really on the network how it goes. One super nice thing are the shared datasets that we introduced, which if you are familiar with the localized datasets from QGIS, where you can have one directory where you store your very big and fat files and you share them between different projects. QField and QFieldCloud support this, so you download your orthophoto of Oakland only once and use it in multiple projects. So this saves bandwidth, it saves space, and yeah, makes everyone happy. And attachments on demand. If your field workers are taking, I don't know, 100 pictures per day, it can be quite frustrating to download the project after a week. So now we allow to download the pictures on demand also on QField. Secrets. So the previous talk was about PostGIS. A lot of people probably use PostGIS for storing their data. If you need to connect QFieldCloud to your PostGIS, there is a concept of secrets, where we store a PG service in an encrypted way, and we open it only when QFieldCloud has to package the project and to make it offline available for your fieldwork. So now we made some nice things for big organizations. Instead of adding the secrets for each and every project, you can add them to the organization, and they're automatically available for all projects, and they can be later overwritten in the project if you want to divert a little bit. Or you can also assign secrets to individual users. So each individual user is using actually a different Postgres user to extract the data from Postgres. Single sign-on, we support Entra, we support Keycloak. A few hours ago, I was acknowledged that probably we do not support Google yet because they changed their OIDC thing like in the last 6 months. So we were a bit disappointed, but we are willing to add Google authentication to QFieldCloud very soon. But if you have a dedicated or on-premise, we can add your authentication provider there. Good. Upcoming features in QField 4.
We are running out of time, but I'll quickly go through these additional slides. So QField 4.0 has become a lot more friendly to newcomers outside of the QGIS ecosystem. So we have added a project creation wizard, which is not based on like data modeling per se, but it's a simple wizard that says, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to take notes? Yes, no. Do you want to track? Yes, no. Do you want to take cameras? Yes, no. And then the QField will generate a project. That project can be a cloud project, which means that subsequently you could download the project inside QGIS and then expand it at will. It's a super interesting feature. Like we call ourselves QField for QGIS. And jokingly, in-house, we say that in the future, we hope that it's going to become QGIS for QField, which of course is when we have zero humility. So a lot of UI, UX polishing and feature discoverability. So for those who have used QField in the past, QField is really powerful. We try to have a minimalist and simple interface, but we can always do better. QField 4.0 is a big step in that direction. And a lot more. VMS Legend, tons of QFieldCloud polishing, copy, pasting of features across layer, project localization. We can now have a project that's localized in multiple language and will look at your phone localization to adjust, and a bunch of API added into our plugin framework. One thing is I did not mention on which platform QField is running, and it's because I'm forgetful, but in reality it doesn't matter because QField is on Android, iOS, Linux, Windows, macOS, and insert the OS that will come next year or 2 years from now. It's available across all desktop and mobile platforms. You want to quickly go?
Very quickly go here. The interesting part is that we are going to offer new plans that can be more predictable and easy to comprehend by some people, because we got some feedback that the current plan it's super nice for people that know it, but no price changes too much, but it's just new opportunities. Also yearly payments, so your organization probably has a tight budget, and putting a credit card on a random service on the internet might not be the best approach for your managers. And more payment methods besides a credit card. Some features that are besides billing and plans are resumable file uploads. So if you want to upload your 50 gigabyte orthophoto, then we are going to be a little bit more, flexible, besides relying on a good network connection. Project creation options directly from the web UI, so the direction that QField went, that you can create projects from QField. You will be able also to create more advanced projects from the QFieldCloud interface. Template projects and project cloning. So if you are working in the same municipality or the same area, probably you have already your base maps and your symbology and whatever already configured. Or we can clone it to a new project and build on top of it. And of course, UI and UX polishing, we can do quite a lot there. Thank you everyone for being our users and supporters. That's what makes QField and QFieldCloud going forward, and being able to present these things, and that we cannot squeeze it in 20 minutes. So thank you for your time, and please ask any questions that you have.
The back. I have a question while I'm walking. Is there feature parity between Android and iOS?
For all the things that matter, yes. So we do have, so background positioning is the one big thing that's not on iOS. Pretty much everything else has feature parity.
Great talk, thanks. About tracing, which is very good feature.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have also this capability that often enough, I know that ecologists need to map habitat or something, they were walking around, but they do it every year. And then they want to see that where is the change. And I know that in my country, how they do it, they walk it every year. And then even if there is no change, there is still, how they walk is different a little bit.
Yes.
So you get those very clunky polygons and issue actually. So would be really great if the tracing, you can set like a threshold that if I deviate from the existing polygon, 50 meters, then only draw like a new polygon. Otherwise, don't. I'm walking, but keep it the same.
Yeah. That is a good thing. I mean, the long answer short is we don't have that. I think maybe that would be something that would be better fit as like an algorithm, post-processing algorithm. But tracking our tracking capabilities allows you to set up the tracking every X meter, X second. And so also maybe by playing with the threshold, you get a slightly smoother trace that might not become too zigzaggy needlessly. So I would say that's.
Okay, great, thanks.
One more question over there.
Another question. On the way, I have a question. What's the programming language for the plugins?
Java, QML, JavaScript. No Python, because on mobile devices, it's quite hard to introduce that framework safely. Yes?
Okay, sorry, try again. Thank you. So QField looks really awesome. If we didn't want to pay or weren't able to pay a subscription for QFieldCloud, we're over the limit for that. How straightforward is it to go between QGIS on a desktop and QField on a mobile device without using the cloud option? Yeah,
super nice question. Thank you for that. QField does not need QFieldCloud to run. You can transfer your project by plugging in your phone with a USB cable, drag and drop in. We also have import of project, of compressed project from URL. So if you put all of your project into a zip, you can say to your field workers, like, use the import URL, that's the URL. We do not lock anybody inside the QFieldCloud thing. It's only for, I mean, we believe that it's super convenient, but we keep people's freedom to use QField without QFieldCloud. QFieldCloud is also open source. I mean, obviously, it goes without saying FOSS4G, but maybe we should say it. QFieldCloud is open source. You can even spin locally hosted QFieldCloud server by yourself. There's this guy created a very, very simple Docker build for it. So you could also run QFieldCloud by yourself to explore it some more. Yes, maybe we are running out of time. Maybe last question. Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to ask, is there a way to convert probably GeoDK forms to
yes. Yeah.
So it's easy?
Yes, using XLS form converter. So if you go in QGIS, you search for plugin in the plugin manager for XLS form, you will see that plugin, auto conversion. You can then drag and drop into QField and you're set to go.
Matt, Steven, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you for your time, guys. We have some caps if you want, some mercs.